Collins & Co.'s not-for-profit conference, Be Empowered Through Knowledge, is designed specifically for the not-for-profit sector. Our speakers are experts in this sector, and their practical approach provides not-for-profit board members and management with the opportunity to improve their skills and knowledge across a range of specialist topics. The conference also provides a great networking opportunity. Partner Paul Kelly introduces our next speaker.
Is Anne Watson. Anne is the coach and facilitator of Entrepreneur Whisperer. Anne is an experienced coach and facilitator, building over 25 years of experience, doing all things from financial administration to being a director in what became a multi-million-dollar family manufacturing business. Put your hands together for Anne. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everybody. So I hope you can all hear me fairly well. I was asked to stand here and not wander around so they can do best video. Today, when I've been listening to the other speakers, I've been personally inspired, and one of the big words that I've heard today is purpose. And one of the things in business coaching or career counselling or team building is to have that sense of purpose, because you really don't know what you're there for unless you're actually able to do that. Bear with me one moment. Let's see I can get that. All right, so one of the things about purpose, if you don't build your dream, you'll actually be helping someone else to build their dream. And that's by, what's his name? Tony Gaskins. I don't have a problem with helping someone else to build their dream, because in bigger organisations, you don't need to be the CEO. One of the things about Chris's journey this morning, and also my friend Tara, who is part of my information that I hand out, she was travelling in Kenya, and this child came up to her and said, "Ma'am, can you give me some money to buy books, because I want to go to school?" And she said, "Oh, certainly, but not rather than being taken in." She said, "Show me where you go to school." So she actually followed this child back to the institute, the orphanage or whatever it was, and it was a very genuine request. And so she very quickly jumped in and gave that child some money. But what happened then, she went back to America, and she decided it was such an important project, she went into a fundraising mode and raised $200,000 that gave back to that school that educated quite a lot of, hundreds of children. And when I listened to her story, and as she inspires me, I think, why did she do it? That's a good idea. I've thought about doing good things, but very rarely action half the things that I think about. And part of it was about her natural motivation to do that. And it's part of her value systems. So again, in small business, team leaders, it's about building your dream. And for me, what I've defined now, leadership is about being accountable to your purpose. That's all very easy to say. I remember many years ago, we had my first coaching experience in business, and I remember getting extremely excited and inspired by the language. So the coach went off, and I turned around to my colleagues. I said, "Isn't that fantastic? We can do that." And everyone said, "Yeah, well, how do we do it?" And I go, "I don't know." And that's one of the things that probably in part of my ongoing coaching business myself is I want to inspire people, but I also want them to get them to do things. What I've found is that a lot of times that's also what I have to inspire business owners or business managers and leaders to do exactly the same thing. So we've all got the same number of hours in the day, and day-to-day leaders are what I'm actually looking for, and that's you guys. That's not the big corporations. Everyone can be a day-to-day leader in their normal, everyday world. So I can't quite see here. Sorry, they're a bit glaring, so I'm miscoordinating, but we won't worry about that. Okay, are you a manager? Do you get things done? Are you able to plan and allocate your resources? Are you put things into control? Or would you rather be someone that actually gets things done, actually gets an idea and go forward and actually builds it? Then I'm going to follow on from Chris, a little bit of Star Wars. And a leader you must be, dear one. So that's what my job is. And one of the things I found is about having a whole and purposeful life. If you can make this one choice or get some definition or articulation around it, it's going to set you up with a small but very efficient criteria about anything you should take on in your life, whether that's your career, whether it's a relationship. Because if you can honour what your virtues and values are and apply it to a purpose and work your heart out, you'll be happy. I can almost guarantee that. What is it? They say, if you like your job, you never work a day in your life. So this is the most important thing you can ever do, and I want it to be a whole life process. I don't want it just to be, something that will suit some criteria or satisfy your parents. So how do you do this? Well, my thought is you do this by, first of all, articulating your values. Again, easy said, now easy to do. Then I say define your purpose. Then I say create a vision and a purpose that manifests in the real world in an effective way. Remembering, I've got this idea's internal mechanism into a real world action. You do something and get something done. So that could be in your career, that could be in your community, that could be in your relationships, but then you can work your heart out and enjoy it and feel satisfied. So how then do we find out what your values are? One of the first things is to recognise in yourself what actually stirs you. What's something that you come back to and you're always a little intrigued by? So generally what happens, I use a system called Values in Action because I find it's a great tool to allow me to help people articulate this, because it's easy to say what are your values and everyone will say, oh, trust, gratitude, that's good, and you go, well, it's a lot more extensive than that. And you've all got a little one that Values in Action, the VAA classification system of 24 strengths. What they do is they categorise those into virtue areas, which is the wisdom, the courage, humanity, justice, temperance and transcendence. And what I'd like you to do right now is actually just look at that sheet there and take 30 seconds. Intuitively pick the top 3 that appeal to you. No, not the top. Choose 3 that have the top appeal for you, that are most appealing for you. Yep, of the 24. Yeah, 24, please. The whole 24, sorry. Of the whole 24, pick your top 3 or 4 that you respond to, that you intuitively respond to. All right, how do we go? I'll share mine with you. Mine is gratitude, social intelligence, hope and leadership. When I first found out about gratitude, I thought, oh, what an unsexy value to have. Not very good. Didn't like it at all. But then I realised that I was lucky enough to have a positive mindset, and I am I'm grateful for most of my life and what happens to me. Also, I seek that in my work. I want my clients to say thank you. Even the best thank you for me is when they say thank you and then they're running away to do what they wanted to do. Can't think of anything sweeter than that. So we'll just build on that a little bit later. Does anyone want to share anything now with that one? Is there a little pause there to share? Happy to just start building the data. Right, the next main thing we've got to do, so we've figured out what our values are, that we know that then, what I'd challenge you, that any job or any decision you make, those top 3 or 4 need to be included and be able to manifest in your work, your career or your relationship. All right, so then the next thing we're going to be looking at, how do you prioritise things? And this is about what your thinking sequence. This also presets you to a lot of different jobs that you do. I'd like you now to look at the other form, which has, the one with the red stripe at the top. Again, another little exercise. I would like you to read very quickly through all those words in each box and prioritise those boxes that most appeal to you in 1, 2, 3, 4. This would actually probably take a day's workshop if I did it really well. So I'm just poking your purpose today, not really defining it. All right, so we've got that one completed. All right, so now I'll give a little bit of information around priorities. If you've picked the top left-hand one, then your first interest is about outcomes, about getting an outcome, and you won't even probably bother to start playing unless you're going to get what you want. The box to the other side, with the yellow side, that's about creative thought and imagination. Again, if you need that, there's not a significant amount of that in your world, in your job, in your career, in your relationship, you won't play very long. The bottom right-hand one, the red one, is about people. The people are the first thing and the priority that you think about when you're interacting with your career, career, relationship. And the one onto the bottom left is the green one. That's about processes, etc. We all are skilled in all those areas. What the sequence of those areas will determine the type of career we are best suited, we're most natural to suit at. I personally am yellow and red, but I'm actually, what I do a lot of my time as part of a trainer, I actually train in MYOB and Xero, and I talk to accountants. I don't do it because I love process. I do it because it's what I can get out of the strategy of helping a business improve, and who am I training that business will be stable and grow. And I'm more attracted to my clients are more of the entrepreneurial type, a little bit hard to contain. So I get that whizzy bit of them, but I can then bring in process. Right, so there's another step 2 of our finding out what about our values and our purpose. The next main important tool that I use is part of what we call your manners of communication. And you've probably all heard of this to a certain degree, whether you're visual, auditory or kinesthetic. Makes a difference. Kinesthetics, builders. Nope, yep, right. But they can build a house. I can't build a house. Be lucky to build a big Lego house. Visual people, like Maria, she's very visual. Communication, sign people, very visual. Auditory, all of our musos. If you'll have a leading preference around this. Now, what I've left with you, and we won't pursue that too much now, you've actually got a descriptor of the visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and a sheet, a little 15-question questionnaire. Fill it in, add up all your A, Bs and Cs and Ds, and just see what your priority is, and then read the descriptors. The other one I want to add to that is that I find in business and a lot of times, audio-digital. Audio-digital is not a communication style so much as a filter on all communication styles. It takes it to I think I would call it a logical level. You know, it gets interpreted. I find, I'd like to talk to Chris around this, but I also find a lot of engineers and that do this. It's almost like it's only going to work if it's logical. We can think of it as being a little bit male-orientated, but it's not really. It's more significant than that. But and again, it sets you up to do the sort of work you want. So now we're having those 3 different sets of tools in a very quick and sort of fairly quick manner. I'd like now, if someone, hopefully you've all got a whole of life purpose worksheet you would have printed out today. Has most people got those? Certainly, even just get a scrap of paper, I'm happy for you to do that. So your whole of life purpose, I would now predict, is going to include your top values. So can you write just on one bit of paper, just so you've got it in a summary. So your top 3 or 4 values there. Then I want to hear how you prioritise your thinking. Is it people? Is it creative? Is it process, or is it outcome driven? And then I'd like you to list how your communication preference goes. Now, I know we haven't quite done that exercise, but you can have a guess at that one at the minute if you think you've got one. So for me, just coming back to my example, because I'm the only one I know well in this world and the only one I've got to make choices for, my values are around my whole life purpose, and I've only really discovered this in the last few years, and I'd like people to discover it a lot earlier so they have a much more intriguing life. It's gratitude, hope, social intelligence and leadership. Now, based on those values, you'd think I could well be a psychologist, because that, the gratitude, the hope, and the social intelligence would help me, but not the hope or the leadership, because I'd have to be patient and let people wait. Whereas you put that gratitude, social intelligence and hope and leadership together, gives me in my forum as a business coach, I have a lot more quicker interactive to that. And I'm able to, therefore, get into the position where I'm quite, I won't say powerful, is not the word, I'm empowered for myself. I feel I want to engage, and I feel I have some authority to engage. And if nothing else, I'm intrigued and I will engage. So I don't have to be an expert in anything, but my enthusiasm means I'm using my best skills to actually work my business. I'm also creative, and people's my priority. So again, I get to strategise, good for business, and I get to work one-on-one with people. And I'm an empathiser by nature, so it's the one-on-one stuff that I like, I hate parties, I don't like the big social event, but give me one-on-one and have me tell someone tell me their story. It's the best thing. And the trust that you build under that, I value a lot. Again, goes back to gratitude. So if you can identify those particular values in your thinking priorities and use it as a filter. So anytime you're coming up to a decision, And more importantly now, working on a plan and the map. Now as your leadership goes, so I'm bringing back, you now know your best self. You now have a role as leadership in the business because you've decided to step up, you've worked off your management skills and now you're stepping into leadership. And all of you here are leaders because you wouldn't be here. There are very few people. You'll be leading some people or some teams. So having got to our stage where we've got, now we know we've identified we're leaders, we know how we like to play best, we get a plan that we're going to write that's going to suit our leadership style. So now what we've got to do is going to be to get it to happen. And the most important thing is, let me just get through these slides, is that we've got to now bring people on board. But before we do that, I'd just like to touch base with a couple of little hints along the way. Okay, something's happening. There we have done that. Sorry. One of the things I say, don't lose yourself trying to be everything to everyone. Follow your purpose and respond to your best skills because it'll come easy to you. And the other side of that, be respectful. Other people have different patterns. These same tools will help you be able to analyse and recognise people's patterns when they join your team. So that's good. Also, the other thing for me is that I love this one, the 10,000 hours thing. There's natural talent, but true excellence only does require practice and dedication. Plenty of Mensa people are unemployed because they're too smart. So 10,000 hours by Malcolm Gladwell will tell you you're an expert, and I think that's true. That's about 5 years hard work in the discipline that you're doing. The other thing is other people look like they've got an advantage, but they'll only have an advantage if you actually don't believe in yourself and play your own natural talents. Please don't make assumptions. I think we talked about quality with, was it you? Yeah, don't make assumptions about quality. We can talk the same words, but we've got to make sure that some validation to what that our assumptions are agreeing with each other. And also, don't take things personally because all of us are out there. All right, so we're ready to go. We decide we're leaders. We know what we want. We know our purpose. We've probably started by this stage to write a business plan in our chosen space of career, business, and a project. So, having said that, let me say this. So where is the dream at the moment? For me, it can be any of these, the career, the business project, it could be just a project within your organisation. So the first thing you've got to do, and this follows on very much with what Michelle said, you've got to find out what's happening in the world right now, what's working and what's not. Then you've got to ask yourself a range of questions about what would your world look like if what your dream had went to its full potential. One of the things about leadership, as opposed to being a manager or a follower, you actually do have choice. A lot of people forget we are adults, and one of the small things listening to Chris and Tara's story, they sort of fell into their worldwide achievements because they didn't know. They weren't scared. Do you know what I mean? They just got thrust along it. All of us here have got to be, I can't see anyone sort of under 20 and probably no one under 25. We've all got a few learned skills that are actually saying, oh, don't do that, or you can't do that. Not at your age. My mother still says I'm lucky to have a full-time job. So, I'm thinking, yeah, thanks, Mum. I really appreciate that. So we're going to very quickly, you've got the dream. So now what we're going to do is, now you're going to build the dream around your sense of purpose and your leadership style. And this is when I say hopefully you've chosen to be in the right organisation, the right career that actually appreciates your natural talent. So now I'm not going to say too much about how we build it, but so the first one is that plan. It's the why, the what, the when, the where and the who. And then, as already by Meredith and Michelle, the real data, the potential alliances that you could get that will appreciate what you bring to it and your purpose in that. Then we do those lovely SMART goals, which means it's specific, measurable, achievable, relevant and time-based. And the other one that I like, and I think this is part of, I also mentioned today, believe in nothing, test everything, at least to some extent. And the bravest act of all is respond to feedback. There's no such thing as failure. It will give you criteria. Just recently as a business tool, what was it? Oh, the promoter score. It's like you can get it as a program where you send out surveys and you find out who likes your service or whatever you were querying them about against the who didn't. And all those questions about who didn't like you or what wasn't quite matching, they come to the table for everyone to share. And what the best part about that, if you're a manager, is it's not you. It's not you going, oh, I don't like the way you did that. Did you really have to do that? You know, you can say, this is what the world's telling us about our product, how can we improve it? So it consolidates the team behind innovation and moving ahead with that plan, refines the plan, you know. Then the next thing, this is hello Meredith, write it down, that business plan. It can be 1 page or a full page list, you know, or a document. It's very important. I'm not really good at this myself, but I think, and Meredith actually, I did some work with her on this one, is that you've got to at least articulate something. I probably use Excel spreadsheets about it and just break it up into stuff. After you've got the business plan, then you do have to work on the different parts of the business plan, different aspects of it. The other important thing for me that I find in small business where I mainly do it, and it's the same with any team lead, actually write down a task list. Because that task list, if it genuinely covers all the aspects of your team and your building and your plan that needs to be implemented, it means some people are very good at doing lots of things, but and then you change of staff and then they teach and there's a little erosion of tasks done. If you have this core task list that covers the whole of the aspects of your plan or your business, it means they never fall off the tree altogether. You can come and address it and come back and say, oh, you know, no one's been doing that mail out, or no one's been doing that survey, or no one's actually cleaned the toilet for 3 weeks, you know. So that task list I found, simple tool, but it works really well. All right, so you've got the dream. We've got the why. You know why you're put on this earth. You've found a purpose. You've created a vision, and now you're working your heart out. We started to write the map, which is the what, the when and the where, which is about what we're doing, who we're giving it to, and how we're going to deliver it. Now it's the who. So that business plan, because you've written it and it reflects your values and your dream about something, now you've got to get alliances, and one of the first ones is finance. You might need to take your business plan and go and get some finance or a grant. Alliances, that's the other thing, which is about, it might be that two corporations cooperate together. Like I know a mortgage broker who teams up with an equipment people, because what happens, that they sell an expensive set of, say, equipment, then they refer to her, and then that client can then afford it because those team are alliance together. There's lots of alliances. You might align with the same sort of organisation in a different state, so that's pretty good. Again, with your motivation and your map and your plan, you can also talk to suppliers because you know exactly what you want, and you won't be buying junk or redundant materials or equipment that won't serve the purpose in the end. And then it's the employees. They're the hardest bit. They're the bits that you're really always going to be the hardest thing to do them, to get them to support you. One of the things about a business is engaging employees. The business needs what I call rounded thinking. When we go back to your purpose and your leadership, it needs to be your particular talent puts you in that leadership front, and then you're the one that does that. You know, sets the navigation where this is going to go. But there's a lot of people, employees, who have got what I call the other skills. Like for me, I need that process-driven people, and I probably need someone to, poke me about to be clear on my outcome. When I work with those people, and because I'm also now, as a more mature person, a bit more steady, I respect that. And they also will allow me to be the creative force and work with the people to bring that outcome happening. So when you're looking for employees, what you've got to do, you've got to advertise the position, embedding your values in that language, and that should be through all your marketing material as well. That should be in your social media, it should be on your website, and it should be in your employment, your job ads, and also your contracts, or not so much your contract, but more in your job ads and your job descriptions to reflect where they fit in. Then the next part of it is interviewing to explain that prime vision you've got, and how their job in particular supports that bigger vision. And also please thank them when they do that. Also, just supporting Michelle in this, it's about 7% of the words, 38% is the tone. Again, Michelle mentioned that quite, get the tone right, get the timing right, and about 55% in body language. Now, the other thing is going back to that task list, and also now because you understand how you figured out your purpose, you start to observe your employee with that same sort of filters about their purposes, their values, and what they want out of the job. Then that's your job, is to match that talent with the task and the job description. So when you're interviewing, you're not just going to say, can you do my op? Can you do this? Can you type this many words per minute? You're actually going to go to the value stuff and find out who has the right attitude. I'd give points to attitude over skill. Train anybody, give me attitude first. Then also to maintain the integrity of that relationship with the employees, you need to have regular meetings. You also need to, the other big thing that I'd like to see more leaders do is listen. Please, just listen, just shut up. And the very last thing, I'd like to see people get rid of toxic people. Don't waste your time on toxic people. Give them a chance. If someone in your organisation is either not performing or is negative and undermining other people, give them a chance. See if there's some little button that hasn't been flicked for them, that there's an unrevealed talent there. But if they continue to be negative or passive, while you're giving them a lot of attention, you know what's happening in the world? The ones your good employees are who are working their heart out, they're going, well, why should I not? Why am I working my heart out? She's given all her attention to that one. So do not tolerate toxic people for very long. I know sometimes when you've got volunteers, that would be something that I think would be harder done than not, because as an employer I can make more choice. But I still think it's possible, and I also think that's also when you share in the team, other employers will help manage those people out. So really, in the end, engaging good employees is the prime source of being able to get a really big project to happen. Because you will, Michelle, again, run out of time and energy. You cannot do it all by yourself, and you need someone to help you. And to get them to work hard for you, as part of this, matching them to the job, thanking them when they do what you want them to do that builds towards that big project, you'll find that if they trust you, they will work harder. If you're capable in your own right and have a strong understanding of your employee, there's no room for laziness. I'm not saying you have to work your heart out every minute, every day, but not laziness, particularly in attitude. Make timely decisions. Don't wait for them. Don't wait till, I don't know. Make it, go back to your purpose. Can't make a decision, go back to your purpose. Give it a weighting, yes or no. It's easier to make the decision. And again, I'm not so good at this one myself. But make the decision. It is easy to remedy the decision before you go back and fix it, rather than just sustain inappropriate or ineffective outcomes. Make sure you communicate as well as you can. Keep trying, keep refining, keep thinking of the other. Empathy is another big issue. Empathy is a good skill, actually. Can distract you sometimes, but it's one of my skills I like having. Train your team. Take the time to go in and train your team. That's really important. It's also a validation that they're worth it, and also it refines the skills and it takes away assumptions again. Be accountable to your own purpose. Be accountable in the tasks in the team. And be rather than tell. So if I've got to learn a new task, just have a go at it. I don't have to be an expert. No one wants me to be an expert, but they want me to be a leader. They want me to know that I've got my eye where we're going and not be distracted too much, or if it's a distraction, it's a worthwhile one. And notice and acknowledge every improvement that is accomplished towards that goal. It's very, very easy to be distracted by great ideas. But if they don't serve the goal, they've got to be reserved for that innovation time. Innovation is also something terribly important as well. And innovation actually has to be worked on. The quick brainstorm of a good idea has to be fleshed out a bit and tested before, and money and time put to it before it actually serves you well. But it will serve you well because when an opportunity turns up, you'll be ready. And again, going back more and more, part of the regular meetings is sharing the vision. Sharing what's happening out there for everybody and thanking them for why they're there. So what's the benefits of knowing your own purpose in all of this? One of the big things, and again, it certainly piggybacks well off Michelle's stuff, you'll remain motivated longer. Even when you're tired, you won't give up on the idea. You will become the expert. And decisions will be easier because even when you're feeling a bit indecisive, it will be, even when you're feeling indecisive, you can say, I can't decide intuitively on this one, I can't decide factually on this one. You'll go back and say, which of these options serves the purpose of the project or the business or my career best? So you will be able to have some discernment in that. And again, if you can't, you've got to test it a little bit, go back and live with the feedback until you move forward on that. You'll be better able to delegate because you'll actually know what you want done. As opposed to, I have met many, many business owners that just want to employ people and they say to me, Anne, just wish they'd do their job. And I go, and what's that? Well, they did this job at another place. Well, what's their job here? What do you want particularly? And have you told them when they're doing something you like, is it what you wanted? You know, not what they haven't done. Please don't. What you haven't done is never going to motivate anybody. I have never seen anyone motivated for very long through criticism. They are only motivated to minimise the pain while they're looking at you, and when they walk out the door, they're going to go, whatever. You know, I want people that are working for me when I'm not there. I want people to think she'll be so pleased when I get back that that's done. Oh my God, that fits the purpose. They've got to be happy with that one, you know. And it's a win-win, and everyone's valued. You'll also feel more worthy because you're starting to build this expertise stuff. You're starting to feel talent. You're starting to feel like you contribute. You'll be more resilient, which is, you know, as small business owners or project managers, there is nothing ever goes the way you want. That something doesn't, like Michelle, someone gets swine flu. How could she prepare for that? Like, that's just not even not even on the horizon. There could not be a risk problem. You couldn't anticipate that. And what I'd like to say in the end, if you can honour your purpose, apply it to your project, work your heart out, you're likely to describe yourself as happy and successful. You won't be whinging. You won't be saying, oh, what I could have done or whoever I could have been. You'll be at your highest best. And that happiness thing, and you'll be less stressed. Life's just a whole lot better. So for me, that is core to be able to run anything you do in your life. If you can learn this aspect of setting your purpose up, creating a vision, a practical vision, how it manifests itself in the real world, and then work your heart out, I am very, very confident that you'll have a pretty good life. And if not, you'll get more and more information how to make it better and better. So I hope that's helped today. I know it's been a really big day for all of us, end of the day. I think particularly this room has been a fabulous room about purpose and understanding. It's been a theme the whole way through, and I got excited when Chris first started to talk this morning. I truthfully believe that is the core to wellness and happiness in yourself, but effectiveness and respect outside yourself. And it's easy to say, it's hard to do. It's hard to remind yourself to keep taking care of your purpose while you're also doing all these wonderful things. And it does take a little bit of time. So I hope this ends the day for you on a highlight, and we'll go from there. And look, feel free to ask and track me down as well if I can help. I'd be delighted to. And we have a door prize. We do have a door prize.